Okay, hi everyone, it's Mrs. Clutch again, and I am here, excuse me, on behalf of all of your math teachers, and we are going to be learning today about surface area of a sphere and also a hemisphere, which is just half of a sphere, basically. So I'm going to use my trusty clipboard again, clipboard, dry erase board. So my sphere, surface area of a sphere is actually fairly easy. 4 pi r squared. You can see that? Okay, so that's the surface area of a sphere. 4 pi r squared, relatively easy. We are going to be looking at the sphere. We know pi r square is the area of a circle, and 4 just happens to be the number when we have our area of, have a slice of that circle or the sphere, and then go down into like teeny tiny at the top and go down to teeny tiny at the bottom. When we add all those up, it ends up being, around the outside of it, it ends up being 4. You multiply 4 times that. So let me share with you. This off again. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to share with you this screen. So again, on number 1, we're just going to look at, they're giving us the radius on all of these, which makes it easier. If they give us the diameter, all we need to do is cut that in half to find what the radius is. So this first one is the surface area. I'm looking at number 1, 4 times 3.14 times 9 squared. So here I have that. All I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply that out. When I multiply all that out, I get that the surface area is 1,017 and 36 hundredths inches squared. Most of you right now are thinking this is way easier than cylinders and cones, and you are in fact correct. It is way easier than cylinders and cones. All right, so let's look at number 3. Again, we have our surface area formula. Looks like an 8. Let me fix that. Surface area formula is 4 pi r squared. So on number 3, we have a radius of 5 feet. So I'm going to do 4 times 3.14 times 5 squared. And once I have that written down, I'm just going to go ahead and solve. And I end up with my surface area of that being 314 feet squared. Pretty self-explanatory. So now for hemisphere, it's just a little bit different. This is how you need to think about it. Most of you are thinking, okay, all I have to do is take my surface area of a sphere and cut it in half. And you would be 100% partially correct. So let's look at number 2 here. So if I'm going to just find the surface area of that sphere, 4 pi r squared. So the surface area would be 4 times 3.14 times 15, times 15 squared. So if I just find that surface area, let me get my trusty calculator out on here. So I'm going to do 4 times 3.14 times 15 squared. And I get 2,826. Now, that's great now, except that I need to, as we said before, divide that in half. So if I divide that by 2, I have 1,014. 1,413. Now, you may be thinking, okay, Mrs. Clutch, that's great. I'm done, right? Well, here's the deal. Look at this. When we cut number 2 in half, we now need to add this flat surface that would be like the face. Like if you took that semicircle and turned it upside down, that flat surface is stuff you can touch too. And just cutting the sphere in half, we don't have that flat surface. So the one thing we do need to add to this is simply the area of that flat space, so the area of that circle. So I'm going to add on pi r squared. So I can do 4 pi r plus pi r, 4 pi r squared divided by 2 plus pi r squared. Now, granted, if we're doing a semicircle, there's definitely combining like terms, but I want you to really think about what you're doing, not necessarily just the formula, which is why we're teaching it this way. So I have my 1,413 plus my 3.14 times 15 squared. And so when I do 3.14, whoops, that was not right. 3.14 times 15 squared. I have 706.5. I'm going to add that to my 1,413 that I began with. And I end up getting 2,109 and 5 tenths. And those are yards squared. So we're going to go ahead and do the exact same thing, moving on to number 4. So again, I'm just going to start with finding what a sphere is, which is 4 pi r squared. And on number 4, the radius is 3. So I'm going to do 4 times 3.14 times 3 squared. And that is the entire sphere. And that gives me, clear this out. So I have 4 times 3.14 times 9, because I can actually do 3 squared, 113 and 4/100. Then I'm going to divide that by 2 because I need half of this sphere. So I have 56.52 would be half of the sphere if I did not have to add back on the flat thing that now is going to close it. So if it was empty and just a total, like just a sphere without the bottom part closed, this would be your answer. But since that is closed, I now need to add on pi r squared, which is the area of that flat space on top. So I have 56.52 plus 3.14 times 3 squared. So 56.52 plus 28.26. Again, just adding on that 28 and 26/100, which is the area of that circle that is closing in the sphere. I add those together, and my answer is 84 and 78/100 feet squared. So it's just a little bit extra to get that semicircle on there. I'm sorry, the hemisphere on there by adding in that additional, that one additional layer of the closing off that sphere. Let me stop sharing this. You have, again, 4 problems for the hemisphere and the sphere to be working on. If you have questions, make sure you jump onto one of your, any honors math teacher, either myself, Mrs. Clutch, Mrs. DeHaan, or Mrs. Faulkner. You can jump on any of their Zooms if you need any extra help. All right, take care. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.